Hi there, Galen here. Today I'm showing a beautiful stencil and die combo along with stamps to make a beautiful leaf scene with a little village inside. I'm using Unity Stamp Company stamps called Bitty Forest. Those are stamped in different colors, and also the ones that were black and white, I just went ahead and stamped in black and then added touches of Copic like just around the areas, but the trees were solid, so I just used ink for those. And the stencil is just so pretty. It has this beautiful maple leaf in the middle. I'm going to show 3 ways to use the stencil and die that coordinate with each other. And I'm also using the Deckled and Stitch nesting die set by Unity to cut out the background or the card front. So the first way I'm going to do it is with the stencil, actually the die first. This is the die, and I'm just showing what it looks like on the paper, and then when you color it or whatever you want to do as far as coloring first, and then you die cut that very simply and then place it. Then the other way is to stencil just the leaf part of the stencil so that you have more of an outline, and then to use the open part of the stencil to just stencil a leaf only. So I'll show you first the die. Putting the die together is just so simple. I made a little scene and then I just die cut it out, and this leaf is beautiful just on its own. And I added the sentiment of this beautiful kit in Bitty Forest. It has these tiny little images that you can place inside the dies, any die, I think. And then it comes with lots of sentiments that are just beautiful for almost any occasion. So I have this scrapbook adhesive, double-sided repositionable tape that I tape down this leaf part of the stencil. And it acts like a mask, if you will, but it's just all part of the stencil. But that is a temporary placement for this stencil. And I used Distress Oxide ink and more of a fall autumn color. And I lightly went around with the blending brush and blended the color ever so lightly just to make sure that's where I want the ink, and I was happy with it. So I came in again with much more of the same color to make a darker orange or fall color closer to the stencil, and leaving the lighter color towards the outside of that. So I go all around. It's very messy. I want to just tell you that if you're going to do this and put your fingers on the stencil, just be careful not to touch the card front, because it will just make a mess of your card front. So I cleaned off my hands really good. I'm using a paper towel to touch and put pressure on that panel so that I don't get fingerprints on the panel. So I clean my hands before this, and then you just take clean fingers and you rub off that excess glue, adhesive, repositionable adhesive. It rubs right off, and just wipe it away into the garbage, and then you're ready to add adhesive and place that right onto the card base. Simple as could be. I decided to just focus right on this stencil image without adding anything extra to the card, except for the sentiments. Here's another pretty sentiment. So you saw the die, then you saw the leaf masking stencil. Now you're going to see the stencil with the opening in the center. And I'm going to create a colorful little scene that's going to be blended with some more ink blending on the inside and doing some more stenciling on the inside. So I got a little more detail with this one. You want to place this open part of the leaf however you'd like it. I added more trees to this scene, so it's a little wider than the opening, which is fine. And you'll see some excess parts of it on the outside that does not have color, and that's actually pretty cool. It looks nice and artsy that way. So I wanted to make slopes. I didn't have a slope stencil, so I die cut a slope out of a cardstock. I had a die that makes slopes. It's retired, but I will link a similar one that if you don't have a stencil, you can just die cut a slope, or you can just hand trim a slope on some cardstock and then add ink blending to make some snow slopes. I am just going randomly just to add tiny bits of tiny slopes in very light blue colors. And I just kind of think, where would they be? And then I just make it real light. You can use gray. Gray would look nice with this technique. But I had this light blue. I have distress ink that I used for this, and it worked great. One more row there of slope area. I just touched in there. This is just to create and accent the scene that's so beautifully done with just stamping alone is fine. But I went one more step to add some slopes. Now the next thing I'm going to do is to accent the very edge of the stencil. I'm going to use that same ink, and I'm going to go just along the outside with just a little bit of a darker along the edges of the same color. And I just add more ink as I go, just to make sure that that outer area is outlined really nice, so that that leaf shape shows up nicely. And then go ahead carefully again with a piece of paper. I'm just protecting that from fingerprints. I remove the stencil, clean my hands real good before I did this step. And then I heat set any ink blending just to make sure nothing smudges and make sure everything is dry and all set to go. And there you have it. A flat card that with stenciling and stamping with just the sentiment. I love it. Thanks so much for watching. Take a moment to subscribe if you will. Thank you.